Hello everyone and welcome to Civic Platform. This is your host Zuher Almusre. Working in Winnipeg, it's a little bit challenging, but for the Arabic youth and Arabic newcomers, they find it a little bit challenging. If that's true or not, we will know more about this fact or opinion from our guest today, Afif Mutawe, member of Arabic community. Afif, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for asking me to participate in this program. First, Ramadan Kareem to everyone, to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. And hopefully I'll have something to actually add to this story.
Thank you very much. First of all, let's give our audience a bit introduction about who are you and what are you doing.
Okay. My name is Afif Mutawe, as you indicated, Afif Mutawe in Arabic.
Okay.
I immigrated here in 1987, so it has been about 35 years. I came to Winnipeg, and as I always say, I froze in time. I stayed in Winnipeg. Of course, I came here after I finished my education back home. I came from Jordan, originally from Palestine. I'm Jordanian, Palestinian, and now Canadian. When I came here, of course, just like anybody else, I faced so many challenges and difficulties. The community was very small. We only have one small mosque, the old mosque in Saint Vital, and we only have a few families, Arabian families and Muslim families. We didn't have much going on for the community, to tell you the truth. We didn't have too many even opportunities to sit together to actually catch up on our lifestyle or create things for us as a community because we did not have enough people. Of course, over time, the community grew. And lately, last 10, 15 years, really been growing really fast. And we're getting a really quality immigrants, like from the Middle East. And that makes things a lot much easier because what we did since I came here and so many other people, we pushed for changes and reforms and we prepared the ground for the new generations who are coming here. We changed so many regulations. We made things easier for people to come in and convert their certificates and their degrees so they can actually work in their profession. Some of them might, as engineers, might have to go to the university for one more year and they become fully engineers, fully licensed engineers, or they might have just to do a few more programs. So they didn't have to leave behind everything they came with. Like myself, I study civil engineering and I came here, I did not work one day on it. The opportunity was zero, actually, to get licensed. Now, the opportunity is available for everybody. That's as a result of a lot of people like myself. When we first came here, we made noise that this is not right, this is not just, and we actually put things into action. We talked to MPs, we talked to the government, the universities, and so on. Yes, we did not benefit of it ourselves, but the newcomers, they can actually rack the benefits, and we are very happy for that.
So, like many of employers today asking for the employee or the applicant to have a Canadian experience. So what's that mean for someone who just came and he want to fit in any job and they ask him for something he will never have it before, like from where I can get a Canadian experience if I didn't work in Canada, right? So is it like a bit challenge to ask for newcomers for like Canadian experience if they don't have it and they can't work, right, without it?
Well, it used to be a huge challenge. Now it's not as bad of a challenge. First, Canadian experience is really important because you are working in a new environment, in new regulations. Let's see if we're going to talk about engineering. The environment that you operate in your country where you came from is different than Canada. Canada use different materials to work. Insulation is very important here. We got very extreme weather. So having that Canadian experience is very important. 30, 40 years from now. Probably it was more difficult to get the Canadian experience because simply they're telling you to go to a company, offer your services even for nothing to get it. The good thing now, there is, I don't want to say a lot, but there is more than a few Arabian or Muslim companies who are involved in all aspects of the Canadian economy. So you can find companies in every sort of our business life here. So you approach those people. Most likely, they will give you an opportunity. A lot of them, they might not be able to actually afford you on their payroll. They probably cannot pay you. They have enough employees, they have a small business, but they are willing to give you the chance to take that experience if you're willing to do it for free. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you are learning there. You're not actually providing anything. You're not benefiting the company. You're learning from the company. So don't take it the bad way that you are working for nothing. No, you are not working for nothing. You are getting the experience that will give you the job that you want. And yes, you might not have money to survive on. There is other ways you can actually work, small jobs here and there. There's a lot of opportunities now with Uber and the other type of businesses that you can be on call and make some money. Don't be ashamed of that. It is okay, fine. You will be proud of yourself in the future if you do the little jobs and become very successful in the future. You can tell everybody, yes, I drove for Uber. I deliver pizza. I deliver food. I work for Tim Hortons. You can say all of that. Now you're successful. Don't be ashamed doing these things. Remember, it is temporary. Till you get your experience, till you get your certificate recognized, and you will be doing absolutely fine.
And some of our community members, they said, there is an opportunities, but I should work with something against my religion. For example, I can't work with pork meat, or a restaurant who is serving alcohol. So that require from our religion, they said it makes the opportunities less in this city. So how we can respond to them, when they decide to come a country like Canada? They said okay, we was in camp and we just need to survive. We don't have any other choices, and this fact we didn't make mathematics before we came.
Mm-hmm.
So we just came and face it. So how we can respond to this kind of people?
Well, I respect that. See, those people, they came in here, or they're very fresh here, and they're holding their religion. They probably think that the religion is threatened here, and they really have to hold tough on it, to hold hard. Well, I came here just like them, and I'm kind of watching for myself. I don't want to do the wrong things, especially off the bat if I don't know. But it wasn't that difficult. First, the religion of Islam itself, a religion of understanding, of knowledge. The first word in Quran came is Iqra. Iqra is read, and does not mean just read, mean learn too, and means so many other things. Open up your mind, open up your horizon. So they need to go back and actually ask more questions to their scholars. They need to go back and read the religion, understand it better. There is something in Arabic called الضرورات تبيح المحظورات. The necessities will actually allow you to use the forbidden. If it's necessity, I'm not saying to go and drink alcohol, but I don't say it's a problem if you have to transfer a case of alcohol from point A to point B. You're not drinking it. You're not buying it yourself. It's a job. Somebody told you, take this case here from Portage Avenue to Alice, from this restaurant to that restaurant. You're not buying it. You're not drinking it. You're not trading in it. They're going to give you $10 to transport it. And that is it. This is the intention. This is the niyyah. Your intention is to work in a transportation company, let's say, and you need to transfer this subject. You don't want to do it. Well, why? Like, what is happening here? You are not going to consume the product. You're not going to, like, I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. Now, you're going to work in a restaurant. There is two types of restaurants here. There's a restaurant called licensed restaurant, and just a restaurant. The license, that means they have a license to sell alcohol. You do want to go in them, that is fine. And of course, those restaurants, they don't force anybody to drink. And only adults over 18 have to go there. And if you wanted to work as a server, most likely you're going to just bring them the food. And if somebody wants to drink a bottle of beer or something, you're going to bring it in a tray and give it to them. You're not going to drink that thing. If that's offensive to you, then don't do it. Go to a place like Tim Hortons. All those are starting jobs anyway. I don't want anybody to stay on them. These for students. These for like a house wife who takes her kids to school and got nothing to do for 4 or 5 hours. She will go work for McDonald's or Tim Hortons or a small restaurant, with all due respect, of course, to make just some extra cash. She doesn't want to sit at home, or the students, or just part-time. You cannot actually survive on it. It's not a long-term plan for you to stay in that little job. You do what you need to survive on in the beginning. I practice my religion, and I found myself in situations. I work in the transportation industry. I have a really great experience in it. And in Ramadan, just like this month, and I'm fasting, and I found part of the freight that I'm carrying. It used to be wine or liquor or something coming from a different city, has to be delivered to a restaurant or to an office or something else. Like, what I'm going to do? I'm fasting, I'm praying every day 5 times, and I get this thing to transport. Well, that's how I make my living. I did not have a contract with liquor company to transport their products. No, I transport general products, and once a while I get something. If I have a choice, I would say no to it. But if I say no to it, I'll say no to everything else, and I find myself out of the job. And once I found myself strong in that field, I could pick and choose what I want to transport. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is. I don't see it a big problem for someone who wants to work. If you understand your religion very well, and you know what is that God subhanahu wa ta'ala look at our intention, look at our hearts before he looks at our action. So if your intention just to work, to do something halal, something allowed, and down the road you had to tackle something you don't usually do, but you had to do it and you did it, I think like, leave it to God. I think he will forgive you about it. The most important thing is to have a job with good intention. That job is supposed to be halal. That's what we always did. I didn't meet one single Arabian person who intentionally, or Muslim even, intentionally went into something haram. Of course, the word haram and halal, they are very, very loose. We can make everything sound halal, and we can, on the opposite, make everything sound haram. We can say we cannot deal with the banks. We cannot deal with insurance companies. Oh, those haram. We cannot deal with any restaurant or any store who carry pork products. Costco, they carry pork products. But we don't go for it. We don't look for it. We go buy our halal chicken and halal beef from there and other products. So if we want to be extremists and say, okay, any place carries something we might suspect to be haram, we're not going to go to there, then we are in the wrong place. We really have to think it over. We are in the wrong place. Same goes with the bank and financial institutions, insurance businesses, and all these things where I have a very good experience into, and I had to go head-to-head with a lot of people. I hate to sound like I know more than anybody else. That's why I don't like to talk about the religion. I try to be practical. I do what I feel is right. I feel it's right, I do it with good intention. And I hope everybody else would do that. If you're wrong and you have the good intention, you know that God is Ghafurun Rahim. He's the most merciful and he will forgive you, because God knows that you meant well and things go bad sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think of this as an obstacle in your way unless you want it to be. If you want it to be, nobody can help you.
So one of the other ideas, they said, like, the system here in Canada, it makes us late until we get a job. Like, we can't get a job fast. First of all, we have to improve our language. We need to make our certificate equalized to Canadian certificate. We need to go to sometime to welfare. So this, like, when they make it, that process very complicated, like for someone who just came, is that something like negative in our system, or that's okay and it's necessary to be like a success employee in the future?
Let's put a positive spin on it. And actually, I did ask this question to a very good friend of mine, a doctor, medical doctor, and he told me that he sit on the panel with a group of doctors in Manitoba to approve the new doctors after they do their exams and everything. They like examine them to make sure they are good doctors. I don't know, like, why are you giving them hard time? Those guys, you know, they're medical doctors, are just like you guys. He said, yes, and maybe they are better than us. But he said, do you want to see a doctor that he is not competent on doing the job, and he might make a mistake, could kill you or kill your son or your wife or your sister or your brother? I said, of course not. He said, that's what we make sure, that the new doctors, when we actually allow them to practice, that they are good for us, for the community, for our families. The same, an engineer. Do you want someone with no experience, have no knowledge of this environment that we're living in, to build a house for you? Any engineer coming from the Middle East, ask him, did you ever hear of something called weeping tiles? Weeping tiles, what is that? Well, of course, that's a system for drainage. It's installed beneath all homes that we build here to drain the water away from the house in a way or another. This experience is very, very important. They have actually to look for it as a positive thing. They need to learn how this country operates. They need to do the right things. They don't want to. Liability here is very expensive. If you do something wrong and hurt somebody, you'd be sued for millions of dollars. Never mind that, that's just money. What if you hurt somebody? You came here and said, oh, I can drive a semi. I had a license from Iraq. I drove semis forever. You sit in a semi here, just like a 747 inside it. The roads are different here. Like 9 months, it's slippery, like you know what.
Yeah.
I said, well, they want me to go take a course, gonna cost me $5,000 or $6,000 or $10,000, gonna delay me maybe 6 months before I can get in a truck and drive. Well, that's much better than get in a truck and go kill yourself or kill somebody else, because you are not familiar with our environment. You're not familiar with the equipment that we have, with the loads that we handle, and so on. So the Canadian experience is very important for any newcomer. You need to learn how this country operates, how our professions work. From a driver all the way to a doctor, medical doctor, or a professor in a university. You need to know how things get done here. And it's part of learning. You go to any other country, they're not gonna just hire you like that. They want to make, especially if you're a professional, like a doctor, engineer, or so on, they want to make sure that you can actually serve the community without harming anybody. So look at it in a positive way. Make it one of your first targets to complete. Do it as soon as possible. And if it took a long time from you, it's okay. It's all worth it. You need to do it. If you don't do it, you will never do your profession here. It's not an obstacle. It's just a step on the long road. You have to do it. You can't go to the step after. You have to do this one first and do the second, third, and so on, and you'll be absolutely fine.
So if someone like hear your opinion and they accept it, and in this time, like for a year, he need like to build his Canadian experience. So maybe that will like take him to work for cash, for example, for someone who take advantage of him. So because he want also to survive, right? So how we can like make him make some money and to survive and avoid anyone to take advantage of him from the employers?
Okay, first, nobody takes advantage of anybody here unless they want it to be taken advantage of. We have great labor laws here. The employee have more rights than the employer. I have my own business, I have staff and so on. Yes, they have more rights than me. I didn't have any rights. They have all the rights. So nobody takes advantage of anybody. Do not work for anybody, because you hurt yourself more than you can imagine. If you work for cash, that means there's no benefits for you. God forbid, and you get hurt, then there's no workers' comp for you. Once you get laid off or get hurt too, there's no employment benefits for you. Don't accept those fishy deals with anybody. Don't. I'm telling you. Work legally. Make it right, because it is good for you and it's good for the business too. Don't be looking around and being suspicious of everybody. Remember, now we are the residents of this house, and you're coming to us. You are the guest. We should be suspicious of you. Do not try to be suspicious of me in my own home. I don't like that at all. So nobody want to take advantage of you. You have nothing to give. Remember, you just came here. You have nothing to give. And who said leaving home and coming here 10,000 kilometers away from home, who said it's going to be easy? You guys are really tough people to make this decision and to make it all the way. And now you're going to complain about a little minor thing? No. Everyone who made it all the way here is a unique, special, tough human being. Really. To leave all your life behind, to leave your mom, your dad, your community, everything, your memories, everything behind you, if it was by choice or against your will, and you make it all the way to Canada or North America, across the ocean, and come here, you're a tough guy. Really, a guy or a girl. You're really a tough person. So you should be proud of yourself. Do not whine. I'm sorry, do not whine. It doesn't sound good in you, because I see a giant in front of me, but that giant is whining. There's something wrong in this equation. Do not whine. Trust in yourself and your ability. You already made the huge trip, the huge leap in your life. Now you're complaining and whining about a very little things in the way. That's fine. Let this guy take advantage of you. How much are you going to take from you? $2 an hour? You work 200 hours for him, $400. But you reach your objective. Now, you're going to leave this behind, and you're going to look back and you laugh at the guy. He gained $400 only from you. You probably made a couple of $1,000s from him. They help you to move to the next level or to the next step, and so on. You actually, even he took advantage of you, and he should not. I don't support anybody who take advantage of anybody. But don't make that as an obstacle. That is fine. Say, okay, that is fine, This is a tax on the newcomer. That's how I look at it usually. So many things I missed on, or I could not perform well just because I got the short end of the stick as a newcomer. Probably my language, my religion, probably my good look and good color affect someone's decision to hire me or to give me some kind of business. That was fine with me. After all, most of those people I left behind, and I'm way ahead of them. I'm happy with every moment, every difficult moment that I actually manage to pass it and leave it behind me.
The biggest challenge for newcomers, especially here in our Arab community, maybe the first or second year, and they face a lot of like a mental health, and like their health will become down. They don't have like a social life what they have like back home. So, and maybe they will have like a decision, just we need to go back. How we can like just make them more passionate? As you mentioned, like he's a tough guy who take that trip, and now he become weak. So how we can make him just remember what makes him come to here, and now you have to focus about your goal and your life and put this all issues behind you.
Well, this is human nature. We miss where we came from. We miss our parents, we miss our families, we miss our neighbors, we miss our schools, we miss everything. So we come here and we get this culture shock too. First thing, just like taking a fish from the water, you don't believe the freedom that you see. Now it's suffocating me. I can say whatever I want. Within the law, of course. I can do whatever I want, as long as I don't hurt anybody, I don't hurt myself, and it's legal. There's no police officer or an army personnel will stop me at any time of day or night to ask me about my ID. Nobody. This is probably, a big part of the cultural shock. We were trained to get used to that fact that there is a government fathering us and mothering us, and we always have to look for that guy who make things right for us in the street, that policeman or whoever. Now, we make things right here. You look at the streets, they're clean. If you have something you want to throw on the street, you put it in your pocket now. But you're back home, you don't. You throw it in the street. There's no police officer here. There's a police officer there who throw his junk on the street as well. This is part of it. You are coming to a total new community, a new society, a new country. Remember, they speak different language. Their beliefs are different. It's a melting pot. It's not just majority of Arabs or Muslims in it. No, we are minority here. And we find out, we're only 5% of the population. We were 95% of the population is where we came from. So now the shoe on the other foot. So you need to kind of digest that nicely and say, hey, thanks God for this country who actually opened up its arms for me and accepted me and treating me just like anybody else. Quote, of quote, anybody else. We have to talk about that. But anyway, that's what it is. It's not going to be easy. We're people made of emotions. We're very sensitive to the fact that we wake up in the morning, we cannot see mom and dad and brother and sister and our friends. But we made a choice. So we need to stand by it. You'll become a loser once you decide to throw the towel and go back. Have a plan for yourself. You don't like it here, that is fine, but you made the trip. Slave yourself for 5 to 10 years. Decide you wanted to go back home and do well and save almost every dollar you can and go back home.
So you mentioned a lot and you support the volunteer here. And it's like in our religion, also we believe in volunteer. But our community, they say now when they are here, it's like a wasting my time. I don't need to sit for an employer for like a month or two, and I can't get any money back for my time. How we can encourage our youth, our people to take that advantage, take that step and start volunteering. It's good for you to understand the Canadian workplace and the Canadian environment. How we can encourage them? They are very far from this meaning.
Yeah, well, the first thing I get, because I try to do so many events for the community, and those events usually non-profit events, just barely cover the cost, and we usually run some deficit that the organizers, including myself, will usually cover it. The first comment I would get, hey, do you want to work with us in this thing? Oh, volunteer? Yes, volunteer. Oh, no, I'm not going to work for nothing. But you are not working for nothing. You're working with me, okay? You're working with so on and so on, and we are putting something really nice for our community. This is a big thing. It's better than all money. If you think about it, it's really good. Now, those people, I give up on them. But their kids, they go to school. And I know my kids went through the school system. In schools, you have to volunteer your time. You have to have so many hours volunteers. Like my kids used to go to the soup kitchen and volunteer there. And actually that changed their personality. They made them nicer people when they saw that they were living at home, like they have a good life, and there's people who will come for a bowl of soup. And they will thank them so much for it because they're hungry and they can't afford it. So the kids, our kids, they go through the school system, they're going to learn that. Sooner or later, our community, maybe not right away, will have that thing on them. Unfortunately, the adults who immigrate as adults, when they came here, they did not have that as part of their culture. Even as you said, our religion encourages us to do charities, charity work. Charity is not just paying money and donating, and no, doing things. There is a few people in the community here. We always did things, really good things for the community. Unfortunately, last few years, most of those people moved to different provinces. So this year, we cannot put an event for the Eid after Ramadan because I don't have enough people to work with me. Last year, we were like paid at about 4 people, only 4 people. We served like about 300 people. That was too much. It's a problem, but this problem gonna resolve itself over time, not with the older immigrants, no, but with the new generations, the kids who go to school. They will learn this thing. You see them at the mosque. Actually, the mosque, at the Grand Mosque here in Waverly, they do amazing job. They have a lot of volunteers, actually. And if you go there to the mosque yourself and you see something needs to be done, you find yourself doing it without anybody asking you, like rolling a carpet or something for more people to pray. And you will do it yourself because you see a lot of people doing it, mostly young people. So we are winning the battle. Unfortunately, we can't have a party this Eid, but we are winning the battle on the long run. We will be okay. We just have to keep talking about it. We just have the value of it because it really has a great value.
Another very important things I want to ask you about, like our like female part. So in our back home, the females don't have to work. The man should like support his wife, his daughter, but here it's not the same. So, and even if I work for one job, it will be not enough for me to pay rent or mortgage or like for all expenses. The cost of life here is too high, and my wife should work and help me with my life. Or if I'm like a business owner, I have enough money, it will be like a different story. Or sometimes the man should be work like 2 full-time jobs just to make his family survive.
Mm-hmm.
So how we can talk to our like a female who come as a newcomer, which one like don't have any experience, she didn't work ever, she was just like mom at home, take care about the kids, and now this is the reality, and this is the reality of Canada.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the luxury of capitalism. Your statement is not accurate anymore about back home. Back home, well, I can talk about Jordan and Palestine, and because I'm very exposed to the people there, even Lebanon and Syria, they're nearby. We educate our girls, our daughters and sisters, and like in my family, we have PhDs, we have master's degrees, and that's in the girls alone. So, and they work by choice. Mm-hmm. See, their husbands work, and they work like they went to university, they had a high education, and they don't just put it in the wall and sit. No, they wanted to work, they want to feel of their importance, and they want to serve the community. Of course, they want, the country to be better. New immigrants, most of them actually highly educated, even housewives that you mentioned, the moms at home. And I have some friends, like one of them say, like, I really feel so bad about my wife. For heaven's sake, she's a civil engineer. Civil or some other type of engineer. No, I think it's something else. But she's an engineer. I said, she didn't work. She doesn't work, and I don't allow her to work. But like, they have a bigger family, of course, so it's difficult. The females, the Arabs and Muslim females, you see them all over the place, they work. They are not shy to work, and I'm so proud of them because they're really tough like a nail. They want it. They want it to work. They want to do the work that they can. Now, the others who they're not blessed with education, they still have a lot of things they can provide. And I know a few of them. Some of them work from home. They're actually great at cooking, and they sell good products. They go to some Arabian restaurants, and they have little deal. Some people might say, oh, that guy taking advantage of them. No, he's not taking advantage of anybody. She loves to do something, and he gave her the opportunity. He's taking a risk on that person. He might sell her products, or he might chuck them in the garbage. But most likely he will sell them anyway. They make some money, they get out of their house, they get to meet people from their community, of course, and that actually lifts their spirit. They make them feel good, and they help their husbands. Well, never mind helping let's say her husband making a lot of money. Her kids are a little bit grown up, they don't need her as much. She feels good about herself, having her little income. She can have a little daycare, have a couple of kids, Muslim kids, Arab kids, or even Kenyan kids. Kids are kids. She can babysit them at home during business hours or even in the evening. And she can make, a few dollars, halal money, very good money. So it's really not that issue for both, like men and women. It's not a problem. Personally, my wife always worked. She's not Arabian though, but she always worked. A certain time, I felt like, come on, we got 2 kids, and what we pay for daycare is more than what you make. At that time, like, she just was a startup, like in her business, on her job. I said, no, it's easier for me to go to work. I said, if I sit at home 24/7, like, I'll go nuts. The kids go to daycare, and they actually play with kids their age, and they learn early, and socialize with, people their age, and do things that the kids do. I sit with them. I'm not going to teach them as much as those professionals at the daycare. So it is okay for them to work in the right environment, of course. And here, the workplace is really well protected. Everybody knows that. If you think the place is shady, don't work. Go somewhere else. So it is. I think it's a problem. I think it's an option. They can work if they want. If they don't, they just choose to stay home, and they are as valuable at home. That does not take away from them at all. Those ladies who stay at home and raise their kids, and they cook every day, and they go shopping, and they do, the things to actually they're raising a family. That's more important than any other job we can think of. So they're valuable at home. They're valuable out of the house. They should not feel bad about themselves.
So Canada, actually, it's not for the person who's like lazy, who think like it's a land of dream, and he will just sit and enjoy, and the government will pay him for money, because this is like the wrong information what we hear from the people who plan to visit Canada. Like, we will come, government will give us homes, will give us jobs, and if we need to work, it's okay. If not, like, we hear like a lot of story. I don't know from where they have this information. So the reality here, when they comes and they see how work, like, you have to be hard work to be a success person here in Canada. So this is fact they should understand that before they plan to come to Canada.
This is actually true. The government give money. We have the welfare system, and we have so many organizations help people in need. Unfortunately, there is abuse to the system always. The government aware of that, but they cannot actually crack on everybody because they don't want to make a wrong decision with somebody, make a mistake, somebody who's legitimate recipient of welfare. And the government decide, no, he is not, and now this guy is starving with his family. I know we have a government with a big heart, and that is really nice. Now, we need to differentiate. You're coming to this country for what? To sit at home and live in sub-acceptable house, barely meet the minimum for Manitoba housing, live in a community you don't want to be in, with all due respect to those projects, the housing that the government provide. People there for a reason, so many reasons. There is a lot of people who have problems with addictions living there. Some low life lives there. That's unfortunate, but it is fact, and I'm not trying to say everybody there. No, not everybody. But nobody who can afford living somewhere else will live on those places. We always strive to live in a better neighborhood because it's less problems, it's quieter. You're gonna find yourself living where you don't wanna be living. And if you weren't ambitious, you just wanna come and sit and the government give you the minimum allowable to live on. Because that's what they give you. They don't give you money to be rich. They give you enough to live on. They give you enough to feed your kids. They give you enough to pay your rent. Barely enough, and you have to manage that enough very well. If you don't manage it very well, you have to drag your family and go to the soup kitchen because by the end of the month, you don't have money to buy food.
We reached the end of this episode. Thank you very much for all this valuable information. I like how much you are positive, and this experience, I would like our youth to take it from someone expert like you. So if there is something I forget to ask you, this is the right time to wrap up everything.
Absolutely. This is the right country for everybody. And it is the wrong country for everybody too. You decide for yourself. Are you ambitious? You want to make it? Yes, you can here. You think you can't make it? Of course you can't make it. You're going to live. Don't worry, you're not going to starve to death. The government will look after you. The community will look after you. But this country is more right for you if you are ambitious, if you're energetic, if you're looking forward to the future, if you want it to be somebody and something in the future, this country is perfect for you.
Thank you very much, Afif, again. We reached the end of our episode. Thank you for watching. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe, and wait for a new episode from Civic platform.